You're listening to the VICK757 podcast featuring Dwight and Michael Vick talking all things tech.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the VICK757 show, talking all things tech. I'm your host, Dwight Vick, former All-Conference Big East offensive lineman, hailing from the 757, Hampton, VA. Also, my young cuz, the GOAT, the icon, All-Conference and Heisman finalist, Michael Vick, cuz in the building. How you doing, cuz?
I'm doing great, cuz. You looking good, baby. Sounding good.
Yeah. Feeling good, man. It's November. Got the extra hour of sleep.
Hey, word. Time
went back, man.
Hey, you be looking forward to that.
The extra hour felt real good,
Hey, cuz, you look like you'll benefit from an extra hour of sleep. Because look, I'm a sleeping dude. I love to get my rest, and that's something West Vicks don't take for granted.
Nah, man.
Sleep.
Hey, that Sunday morning, man, I was thrown off a little bit because I thought I'd overslept, but I slept in. And I felt good, man. It was nice, man. And, enjoy Sunday, man. I seen you on TV doing your thing and covering everything. Seen you today on yesterday. Actually, yesterday. With Shannon and all those guys, man. You everywhere, man.
Yeah, they keep me busy. I'll tell you that. But I love it, though, man. It's such a cool platform just to, talk about the game that we know, even if it's on this platform or talk about it next level, NFL. It's always moving parts. And I know we're going to get into tech, in a few minutes, but, the game is just so intriguing. It's crazy just how the current events and old events, and it always, it's like always something we've seen before. Like the struggles and the ups and the downs, like we can always relate it to a situation. And, football will never change, man. It's X's and O's for a reason. And, that's why we love doing what we do, man. That's why we love covering the game.
No doubt, man. And look, I want to ask you something, man. I know you and I talk all the time. You and there with so many personalities, man. How do you keep a straight face? This is not just coming from me. This is coming from a lot of people that we want to ask you. How do you keep a straight face when you're on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon? They got to be two of the biggest personalities. Shannon Sharp is hilarious. And Skip is passionate about the Cowboys, Tom Brady, anybody he likes. He don't care. He gonna argue down to a T. But you do great stuff on there. But how do you keep a straight face?
It's hard because Shannon says so much stuff that I be wanting to laugh sometimes. Those guys are like very humorous, like very funny at the core. Yeah. So a lot of stuff I be wanting to laugh at. Then what really be getting me sometimes, like I love when Skip talk, I love listening to him. I love listening to Shannon, but when Shannon come in one of those modes where he want to argue, it throw me off because I be coming to laugh and coming to talk ball, and he want to be combative. But that's what the show is all about. When you walk into Fox and you see, the little billboard, Skip and Shannon show, it states underneath, quoted, "You better come prepared." Yeah. And that's what you got to be. You just got to be prepared for whatever's going to come. And like you say, it's hard to keep a straight face sometimes, but that's what makes doing TV so cool.
Nah, you're doing a great job, man. I know I always text you after different segments, man. I speak for a lot of, not just tech fans, but fans of yours in general, man. They hit us up in the comic section, and they also hit me on different social media platforms, and they've seen your progression over the last several years, man. It's great to see you break down the game and give great insight. Yeah. Some guys just be up there, they fans, like I look at my man Nick, he loves the Chiefs, and he just be on there.
You can't talk bad about Patrick. You can't talk bad about Andy to me anyway. I mean, I paid for a lot of coaches, so you're not gonna get one off on him. But with Nick Wright, you ain't talking bad about Kansas City. Nothing, down to the barbecue, baby.
No doubt, man. But you mentioned prepared, Mike. Our Hokies, man, they weren't prepared, man. They flew up to Boston College, man. We previewed that game, you, me, and Danny, and and Melendez-Bird and William Boatwright last weekend, man. And Tech had a chance to really build on something, man. And they really laid an egg. They lost 17-3. The big stat of the night that everybody was talking about, which really got, everybody talking about change needed, was Tech lost 17-3, but at halftime they had 3 yards passing. 3 yards passing. Brumeister took an injury. He's been beat up pretty much all season. Kingdom came in, the backup quarterback, did not perform well, but that loss isn't just on him. Defensively, for the most part, they gave up some big plays, but Justin Hamilton's group, again, in the modern day of college football, held Boston College to 17 points. But a really, really bad loss for Tech, where you and Danny warned me as I was trying to give our fans some optimism, saying they were live for the Coastal, but you talked about going on the road and staying together, and Tech did not do that. They lost 17-3. Boston College was 0-4 in conference play, and like Syracuse, who had lost 10 straight, both teams got a win against Virginia Tech, man. So just really disappointed, man. What are your thoughts on it so far?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm not going to beat the dead horse, man. Just another game where we had an opportunity. And, like I said, I'm not going to continue to hop on the bad. It's just evident that it's a lack of something, whether it's coaching or whether it's leadership or whether it's just all-out play. Something's missing. And for us to start out so good and to now be so bad, it's a disconnection. So hopefully Danny can give us some insight on what's going on. I know that we got quarterback issues, we got issues in the run game, we got issues in the pass game. I think, I always say it starts with a quarterback. Next year and moving forward, we need a surplus of quarterbacks. Like, we need 3 good ones. And like, it's no reason a backup comes in and he's not capable of, picking up where the starter left off. Now, it's not going to be as fluent, but it's no way that, you look like you never played football before. 3 yards passing at halftime speaks for itself. And, no more to explain. What's understood don't have to be talked about. And it's certainly time for a change at Virginia Tech. And, it's too late to figure it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, man, because you make a great point, Mike, because you talk about how Tech started off so promising, beat a ranked top 10 team in North Carolina at home, 17-10. They left a lot of touchdowns on the field, but they still won that game in dominant fashion. Great defense, opportunistic offense, good special teams. And then they went at 3-1. And then all of a sudden, man, they had a horrible loss to West Virginia, really tough loss to Pittsburgh. And it just seems like they look flat and uninspired. I think also, too, to your point about change and also just the dynamic of the football team, is you would think that they would come out and play with more of a sense of urgency. I mean, regardless, I don't know if you remember this, but this was brought up by Tech sideline, William Stewart, him and Chris Coleman, who run Tech sideline. It came out that it reminded me of this, our game, my senior year, your redshirt year. In 1998, we went up to Boston College. Al Clark was hurt. Dave Meyer was hurt. Nick Sorensen played quarterback, who was a punter. And we won that game on the road on a Thursday night.
17, was it 17 nothing?
17 nothing. Look at you, 17 nothing.
It was cold too.
Yeah, it was cold. It was rainy. It was a Thursday night. Boston College, the fans were in it. And I remember it was an ESPN primetime game. And I remember going in that game thinking, okay, Al is hurt. Dave is hurt because he had gotten hurt, I think, against Pittsburgh, a shoulder injury. And I think Will Stewart's point in bringing that up was that we found a way. We schemed it to Nick's strengths. Nick was not a true quarterback, but he was an athlete. And he actually threw a touchdown pass, a slant to Ricky Hall. We leaned on the running game. When I look on this past Friday night, the loss to Boston College, Virginia Tech's got some nice backs, but it just seemed like there was no rhyme or reason. And I hate to put it on just one unit, but offensively, this team is terrible. I believe it's been 48 straight games since they've had 500 yards of total offense. They rank pretty much last in every statistical category. So you're right. There has to be a lot of change. There has to be something because it's not acceptable.
Yeah, it's very unacceptable. And you said it last week. You can't sleep on Boston College. You can't sleep on Boston College on the road. You said that. And it took me back to that game where you guys went and beat Boston College that night, but how tough that game was. Like, they're never going to be an easy team to beat. They're never going to be a rollover. Like, we got this one. They're going to make you earn it. You know, those dudes, tough dudes coming from up there. You know, so yeah, those dudes are tough, man, and they love the game of football like us, and they play hard-nosed football. So if you don't come into Boston ready to play, you're not going to win.
And you know what? They had lost some tough games. You're right about Boston College. It's funny you said that, because I was watching the game and I was looking at it and I said, you know what? If you did not know this was 2021. They look the same as they did in 1998, 2007.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what they do. They get the same big linemen, same running back, same D
same
lineman.
style quarterback.
Yeah, they always got those Hasselback or those quarterbacks.
Their quarterbacks be pretty good. Hasselback was good and Matty Ice is good. So
Matty Ice is tough.
They produce good players overall. And remember Chris Hovan?
Yep, that's who I used to go against. Hovan with the black paint. Yeah, and Damian Woody, who played my position, who is doing great things on ESPN analyst.
Yeah.
And that's the point. You mentioned something, me and you both, about Boston College, how we just spit off names. I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me when I look at Tech football in general now in the modern era, is that offensively we have no identity. I don't know who we are. I don't know if we're a passing team, a running team. It's just interesting how that works out, man. We're just not what I thought we would be at this point.
And what was our identity for all those years under Bama? We run the ball. We got two stallions on tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to let them speak, but we run the football. We had big, gargantuous linemen, strong, brute guys like yourself that was going to knock you in the head, knock you around. And we leaned off that, then came to play action. Then the passing game came to life, which made the game easy for all the quarterbacks. And you think about the lineage of quarterbacks, for myself, Brian Randall, Marcus Tyrod, Glennon, like we had a good laundry list of guys who just benefited from the system.
Yeah. Danny's about to jump on here, man, but it's just crazy, man, because that's exactly right. Like, you said something, you've been saying it, and this, I give you credit on this. You actually got my brain spinning it on this one, cuz you said this throughout the show, since we started this podcast together. All the offenses seem the same: spread, zone reads, all that. And I look at it and I'm like, I get that you got to use your athletes, but I don't understand why a lot of modern day OCs are afraid to line up in the eye or keep it simple, run the ball, be physical. It just seems like everybody, like William Boatwright talked about last week on our show, everything is 4th and 1, you in the shotgun. Everything is just so lateral and jet sweeps. And it's just interesting, man, how,
And guess who lining up in the eye, cuz? Ohio State lining up in the eye. Michigan lining up in the eye. You know what I'm saying? Some of the best teams in college football, they lining up in eye, strong, weak, near, far, whatever you want to. They lining up in them sets. And they coming at you on first down and they play action and off of it. Your quarterback look better. He's protected better. And all this just fast pace, try to beat you to the sideline, get athletic linemen. It's not working. I'm tired of all these offenses looking the same. Something has to change. Yeah, man. It does. It definitely does, man. And Danny, you come in the perfect time. Mike and I were doing our Vick's Viewpoint segment, man. And you're jumping on to do your notes, man. We always love to welcome you on the show, man. Thanks for jumping on. Danny Noakes does 106.7 radio shows segments for 106.7 The Fan in DC, as well as you don't do the show in Richmond, but you do the podcast with me, Victory Life Legacy Podcast. But Danny, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, not much, gentlemen. How's everything going? Just watching a little Tech basketball, taking a break to hang out with you guys.
Okay, how's Tech doing, man? I don't have it on
How we
in the
looking?
office.
Hey, looking darn good. Looking darn good. I tell you what, it's one of those early season games. They're playing Maine tonight, and it's an early season game against one of those non-conference teams that Virginia Tech is obviously a lot more skilled than. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
it's hard to not get really excited about this team because Mike Young is a heck of a coach, one.
Yes, he
But
is.
But two, this is a really balanced team between bringing Keve Aluma back, who's a beast down low. They have a couple of different sharpshooters in Couture, and you bring in a guard like Storm Murphy, and obviously Mutz is as skilled as they come. So, man, it's going to be a fun basketball season. Boys.
Danny.
That'll
I
liven our
can't wait.
spirits.
Danny,
I can't wait.
this is why we bring you on, man. You just spitting these names off, man. And we still in the football season, and you do the light switch and go right into basketball, giving us all these names to watch, man. I love it,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Yeah,
what's
this is
up.
great. Yeah,
I'm on it.
yeah. But unfortunately, Danny, we got to talk about football because we still have some torture and some pain to go through. The season's not over yet. You and Mike, you and Mike warned me when I gave the fans some optimism. I was like, we're still in it. I was in my pulpit preaching at my palm out. We can run the table. It's possible. And Tech did what we thought they would do. Unfortunately, it was an ugly loss. And national primetime game, 17-3 to Atlantic Division, Boston College, who was 0-4 in ACC play. And like I told Mike right before you jumped on for your Noakes segment, 3 yards passing at the half. So just break down your thoughts, man. Give us and the listeners and viewers, man, your thoughts on the game.
Well, their ability to move the ball against Boston College was staggeringly bad. I mean, and it all happened obviously at a much worse rate when Braxton Burmeister left the game there late in the first quarter when he got hurt. But how many times has that happened now this year? I feel like a broken record where we're talking about Braxton Burmeister gets hurt, has to leave the game, and the offense just completely starts to sputter. And that's understandable because you bring in a backup quarterback, your offense probably isn't going to move at the same rate. But it was so bad. It was at the point where you knew that they weren't going to be able to move the ball, and you knew that they were going to lose because you can't win if you can't score. And Boston College is not even a team. They're always predicated on their defense. At least they were under Steve Adazio before he got let go. But they haven't really done anything well. And this is the second time this season that Virginia Tech has given an ACC team their first win in the ACC. The first time it happened was against Syracuse. And now, guys, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown since the first quarter of the Georgia Tech game. So they played that whole Georgia Tech game with Braxton Burmeister. Okay. Now, obviously, we just got into talking about how when he left the game, a lot changed. They weren't going to be able to move the ball with Knox Kadum coming in because, well, for one, Fuente and the offense weren't letting him throw the ball downfield. I mean, he certainly wasn't accurate, and he doesn't seem to be ready to go into the game. But I mean, they weren't even trying, and that's the thing, man. It's of all these tough losses that they've had, it really seemed like they fought to the end. But against Boston College, they quit.
They quit.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask, fellas. Does it seem like it's a sense of guys just giving up and quitting, not believing in the plan that's being implemented? It seems like that's what's going on. And I don't know if y'all feel the same way, if y'all seen that or if y'all feel that.
Well, to Danny's point, I didn't think the players had given up. They were saying all the right things. They were playing. It just seemed like schematically and offensively and even at times defensively, they looked lost or uncertain. One of the key components I saw in that is when Dorian Strong got an interception in the first quarter. And it was like, okay, Tech, we're about to make something happen. And he's running and looks to the sideline and he's jogging and he looks uncertain, gets hit, fumbles the ball. Boston College gets the ball back and subsequently goes in for a score. At that moment, the rest of the game, Tech just looked lost. Then you had the undisciplined play of Dax Holyfield on the sideline, hits the quarterback late. Then he runs up the sideline, pushes Boston College's coaches, gets an unsportsmanlike penalty. And at that moment, we looked lost. And then, to Danny's final point on this is that we had the ball down 17-3 with about 5 minutes left. in the fourth quarter and punted the ball on fourth down. And prior to that game, I thought the players still believed and kept playing, but that was the first time in weeks I saw them. They looked like they didn't have it. Not that they didn't care, they just don't think they can do it anymore. They waved the white flag.
I'm totally with you. And I said the same exact thing about that interception in the first quarter to Val, my girlfriend, who's also a Hokie. Mike, you haven't had the chance to meet her yet, but I said the same thing. I said, when we gave the ball back to them on that interception, had a chance to take some of the momentum away from Boston College, you give it back and they go in for the touchdown. There were only 2 touchdowns scored in the game. And the other one, came a little bit later on. So it was obviously at that point, it was like, here we go again, and I think for the first time, it actually did creep into the players' minds. And maybe that's why at the end of the game, we did see them sort of quit. But that was the last point that Dwight made about what happened there with the punt was a coaching decision. That's something that Fuente decided to do. And so down 2 scores, you might not win the game, but I mean, Mike, in the National Football League, you line it up and you still try and go score. You don't just give up. Not if you're the team that's down.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you fight to the end. Yeah.
Right. So it was super disappointing to see that. But at the same time, it seems like we're just doing a slow march to the end here at this point, because I mean, they can't do anything offensively. They're and there doesn't seem to be any cohesiveness. The sideline looks flat and whatnot. It's just things are kind of bleak.
I was gonna say that you just said the sideline looks flat. I don't see the kids having fun, celebrating, even when you're losing. And Dwight, this, playing football, even when you're losing, it's competitive. It's still fun. It might be heartbreaking and gut wrenching, and anxiety filled, but you still having fun to a certain degree, whatever that means. You're still having fun and enjoying the game. From what I've seen, it just seems like nobody's having fun anymore. It feels like they lost belief. And, playing in so many systems, playing in for different teams, playing for different coaches, different personalities, different people. I've learned that if you start to sense that what we're trying to do, everything that we work hard at in practice to implement on Saturdays or Sundays, if it don't work, and it don't work consistently, and you keep coaching and trying to do the same thing, the message just starts to go in one ear and out the other. And I hate to say that, but, as a former player, that it's weird. It's a weird feeling, and you hate it because you can't shake it. The only thing that can shake it is somebody, making you believe again, like we can do this. I mean? I went through it with in Philadelphia, with Andy, and when Andy went off to Kansas City, and it was fresh for him. And then Chip came in, and it was fresh for us. I use that as an example because, even though, we all had success, Coach moved on to go to Kansas City, and he's been winning. And I moved on, and I can't say I won a ton of games, but it was a breath of fresh air. So sometimes you just need, new leadership, man.
Yeah. Speaking of leadership that Mike brings up, Danny, let me ask you this, and I can't wait to hear your opinion about this. I don't even know if Mike knows about this because this came out after the game. This was very alarming. So the post-game presser, and it's funny how I pay more attention to that now than I did when I played. But, we work in the media, and Coach Fuente disclosed that he was completely unaware that our star receiver, after having a record-breaking game against Georgia Tech, Trey Turner, shout out to Trey Turner, who was on our show early in the season, had a monster game against Georgia Tech and did not make the trip. And he was asked in the post-game presser, and he said he did not know that Trey was not available for the game. Danny, this has to be a red flag. I know you didn't play at Tech, but you cover sports. You've been doing it for the Washington football team, the Hokies, the Terps. How is that possible when on game day and pregame you do walkthroughs, you get there on the night before, you have film review, room checks, dinner, breakfast. I was blown by the fact that he didn't know, especially he's arguably your best offensive weapon along with Tavion Robinson and the running backs. And then what followed was on Twitter, his mom talking about my son deserves better. And there's all these different, now you had that cryptic tweet by Holston, the running back, with the black ball. So you got to wonder about this locker room right now, man. Danny, are you aware of all this?
Well, I was definitely aware of the comments that Justin Fuente made regarding Trey Turner in the postgame press conference. And what I can say about that is the great David Teal of the Newport News, or formerly of the Daily Press and now of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, when I had him on my show every week, one time I was asking him about the Rick Pitino situation in Louisville before he had lost his job. And basically the question that he gave was, is it worse to not have known, or is it worse to have known and not done anything about it? Right. And so that is something that has stuck in my mind. And of course it came from David Teal because he's brilliant, but it came to my mind with this Justin Fuente situation, when he was talking about Trey Turner. Pete Morris, who's their strategic communications guy, Tweet Pete, is the players refer to him as well. He's done a lot of foolish things with that Twitter account. But essentially he went and defended what Justin Fuente had said with his own personal account by saying the coaches are in constant contact with the athletic trainers and everybody that looks over the players, right?
I saw that.
And he also said that each situation is different depending on the player, depending on the injury and whatnot. And all of that makes sense. But so Trey Turner's mom tweeted out on Tuesday that she had canceled her plane ticket. She knew that he wasn't playing. So either Justin Fuente didn't know that Trey Turner wasn't going to play, which is terrible. How do you not know that your best offensive player isn't going to play? Or he knew and is lying to the media about having known about it, or he knew and just decided, not to do anything about it. So there's three layers to this one, but none of them are good. None of them make Fuente look good, and they all come back on him. And that's why it's like they're trying to play people for stupid. They think that it's going to go over everybody's head. It's like, dude, what happened? Just be honest.
Hey man, it's something they call it a staff meeting. Right. And every staff meeting, cover all bases.
Talk about it.
Obviously, the bases wasn't covered. And as a head coach, that's your responsibility to make sure you know who's going to be available on Saturdays or Thursdays for you, or whatever day of the week you play. They mix it up in college football. But whatever is going to happen, and who's ever going to be available, you got to be the first to know, because your decision-making and that win and loss column depends on your personnel out there on the field.
This is
unacceptable.
Unacceptable and unbelievable. Just really. So, Danny, real quick, last question for you, man, and we got to let you go. But Tech is 4-5. Obviously, we're not even going to mention Coastal Division champs. They're 2-3 in the ACC. They got Duke, their last home game for the senior day. They play, I believe, at 3:30 in Lane, last home game. And then they end the season with road games at Miami. And then they end with their Commonwealth Cup clash with UVA. Duke, I think Tech is favored by 9.5, 10 points last I saw the spread. How do you think this is going to play out? I mean, not just the Duke game. I know we're going to have you in the next 2 weeks as well, and so on after that. But what are your thoughts about this week? What should we all, as just us as analysts and podcasters and fans, what should we expect this week in Lane Stadium? Do you think they come out and play with emotion, or do you think this is a grudge match against a very, very, albeit they played Pitt tough, this is a very bad Duke team, probably Cutler's worst team in years.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And it's probably a team that would get any other coach fired, by the way, at Duke. other than David Cutcliffe, who brought that program to heights that it's never seen before, even if they weren't very high. Duke football is just not important down there when you have such a storied basketball program, as you know, buddy. But yeah, what I expect, it's interesting too, the way you asked me that question, because I think we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles, just kind of waiting to see what happens with the coaching staff here, right? I mean, let's not beat around the bush. We don't know if Justin Fuente is going to be here next year. His track record is certainly bad enough for him to lose his job. That much we know. Will he? I don't know. I'm not calling for his job. There are certainly opinions that I have about that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What I do think is going to happen on Saturday is I do think they'll come out and they'll play hard for their seniors, right? I do think that the leadership within the locker room with the players is pretty strong. And Dax has done some questionable things on the field this year. You know, we didn't talk about him bumping the coach.
I brought it up.
I don't think I got to break that down with you guys, but there's some mistakes that he has made, and you can't do that as a leader. As you guys both know, you guys were both leaders on your teams. So he needs to clean that up. But between him, you know, Trey Turner, I think, is a leader in that locker room as well. I think that the players can handle it amongst themselves to get this win against Duke and send your seniors out correct, right? And do it right, play well. I mean, play well enough. I don't expect them to come out and win by 3 touchdowns, by the way. I think you might see something like, I don't know, maybe a 24-12 or something like that. Something kind of ugly, to be honest with you.
Yeah, ugly is a good adjective.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I do think that we're going to come out and win this game on Saturday. But what happens after that is where I really just have no idea what to expect, because I wonder where Whit Babcock is at in his decision process right now. Has he made his decision? Because if he has, how long is it going to drag out? Is he going to announce his decision at the end of the season? Will he make his decision after senior day and you know, kind of have everything happen after that, so that, you know, the focus is on the players for senior day? Maybe he decides to do it that way. Maybe nothing happens at all. I mean, I can't imagine that'll be the case.
Look,
I don't think that'll be the case. I'm just throwing it out there as a hypothetical.
No, you know what? That's true. I said that too. I said because you don't know. And I will say this, and we'll let you go, Danny, but this, regardless if no one stays or people do go, whatever it is, this is the most important decision in the history of Virginia Tech sports. Not just football, but Virginia Tech sports. Because you better get this right. And I'm not talking trash to Wick because I'm not an AD. But at the end of the day, our basketball program is definitely a contender now. We expect Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. Track and field is killing it. Golf is great. Wrestling has always been, especially in the last 8 years, a national power. But let's not get it twisted. This is a football-driven school. And yes, Beamer was a legend. Fuente got off to a hot start. But this next guy, if there is a change or if Fuente is allowed to stay, you better make sure this is the right decision. This is the most important decision in the history of Virginia Tech sports. That's all I'm going to say about that. You better get it right, man.
Hey, if we're talking about, and I really like Whit Babcock. I've actually had the chance to talk to him and have some personal conversations with him. Fantastic dude. Love him. And he's a great man to lead the athletic department of Virginia Tech. Yep. But I will say, and this is just a fact, he did hire Tommy Tuberville at Cincinnati, and that did not turn out so well. And now look at Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati's in the top 5. They're actually going to go play for the college football playoff if they keep this up.
Wow.
So this would be the second bad football hire that he has made. So does that warrant him losing his job? Of course not, because he brought us Mike Young, and let me tell you, he's the perfect fit for that program. And if you guys want some,
you never know what we got in store. We never know, man. We trust him. Hey, the one word we're gonna always say on this show. Dwight said it a couple of times: optimism.
Yes,
we got a future. We got optimism.
Right.
We believe.
Yes. Danny, man, we thank you again, man, for your notes, man. You have a great weekend. I know I'm gonna talk to you, after the Duke game, and we'll chop it up, man. Take care of yourself, man. Enjoy your weekend.
Hey, thank you both.
Thanks,
appreciate
Danny.
it always. Hey, I'll talk to you guys soon. Later.
All right, man.
My man.
That's our guy, Danny Noakes, man, breaking down the Tech loss to Boston College and also previewing the Duke game and the rest of the season, man. So
yeah, man.
Always a great time to get Danny on, man. So now we're going to bring in two of the best of all time, two of our closest friends, our brothers, none other than two stallions, as Mike mentioned before. We are bringing in Sharon Stiff, excuse me, and Andre Kendrick. Sharon had called him. He told me when I locked him in for this show, he said the 5-footers are going to step in the building. yes,
man. Sharon though 5'11" though. What are you talking about?
Yo, stop it, cut it out here.
No, I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9".
What's up, Chef?
What's up, Drake?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Vick?
Hey, I'm good,
man. Good, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, so, Drake, you do know the Yankees didn't win the World Series, right?
I'm going to still rep them like I'm repping the
All right. I just wanted to let you.
Yeah. Listen, to our viewers, if you are a young tech fan, let me just tell you about these two guys right here. I blocked for them. I remember seeing them on their recruiting visit. Drake Kendrick came out of EC Glass. I first saw Drake Kendrick and EC Glass facing off in the state championship against Ahmad Hawkins and Ronald Curry. He was out there playing by himself. Hey,
look, D, and then the first time I seen Dre play, he was playing against Hampton. In the playoff game, it might have been the championship game, Dre, if I'm not mistaken, state championship, and he was out there playing by himself.
Yeah. Dre came on his visit and made an immediate impact. He was out there roasting people, man. And Sharon, my guy, the Western Branch, man, came into Tech. First met Sharon at Tech. I talked about this on my Victory Life Legacy Spotlight podcast. Everybody was telling me, I'm an OG at the time. Everybody was telling me, it's a dude upstairs in Cochran giving out L's on the sticks. I was like, man, what? And what? It was like NC2A. So I was like, yo, I'm going upstairs right now. He came in there. That's when he had hair. He was walking around with his little fro. He had Ghostface playing in the background. And we had some battles, man. But it's great to have you guys on. Andre Kendrick. One fun fact about Andre Kendrick, I was talking to him in preparation for this show. His rushing record stood for almost 20 years at Virginia Tech, 6.2 yards per game, was recently broken by Chicago Bears draftee Khalil Herbert from Virginia Tech. Broke it last year. So that shows you kind of back he was and Sharon was. So, guys, man, how you going, Drake? What's the word?
Me, I'm just cooling like I cool. You know how we do it.
Where you at, Drake?
I'm in Virginia. I'm at my man's studio. You know, was chopping up some material earlier, man. So I was like, yo, I can't miss my dog shows, man. My boys, I can't miss their show. So,
yes, sir. Man, thanks for coming on. We're gonna work on that background though. Child, you kept it nice and simple.
Man. I gotta learn from my Hokie fans. I gotta learn.
No doubt. We about to get into that, fellas. I can't wait to get into it to see what y'all take is on, just the state of the program.
I don't know, man.
We want to set it off.
I'm gonna let Dre. Before we start, Dre, I got a friends coming to Women Mary. Desmond Cook.
Okay.
Branch. He just committed to Women Mary, so he'll be joining your son as well.
Why not Virginia Tech?
I guess we're gonna get into that recruiting stuff later. I guess we'll get into that recruiting stuff later.
To Virginia players, Cook.
Hey, for our listeners and viewers, Andre Kendrick has his son Drayshawn, who was a dynamic player at EC Glass in Lynchburg, and had several offers. Man, was one of the best in the state coming out of high school, and ended up playing. And he's at Women Mary now, fighting a hamstring injury, but he's a dynamic player, can do it all. Great athlete. He also was a hooper, and he's representing the Kendrick family very well and doing his thing, man. So shout out to your son, man.
Appreciate it. He back in full effect.
Okay.
Up in the tub.
But
he in the wrong uniform. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Hey,
He's supposed to be in Blacksburg, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Position that he in, my man.
Absolutely, no doubt, man.
You know what?
Amazing.
Before we dive into recruiting and the misses and that ugly loss to Boston College 17-3, and the fact that Virginia Tech might miss a bowl for the second year in a row, which is beyond unacceptable and devastating. But let's just talk about our time in Tech. We have a brotherhood. We all been close now, guys. It seems like for decades now. Dre, man, you and Mike and Sharon, after I left, y'all played in the national championship game. And Sharon had that tough injury, man. And I told you on the phone tonight, and we talked earlier, you took over that game, riding for your guy shot. Like, you out there running against Florida State, man. In the fourth quarter, y'all were up 29-28. And y'all were a few minutes from winning in the first ever national championship, Virginia Tech. When you think about your time in Blacksburg, Dre, playing with your brothers, everybody, Wayne Ward and all the, the Stallions, Coach Height, Beamer and Kavanaugh and Mike doing this thing, what was it like, man?
Man, them was the good old days, man. Like,
tell them about it, man. Tell them about the good old days, man.
Bro, like, I don't want to come on here, but you know what? I don't even mind sounding like an old dude, because when we was there, it was right, man. And it was a brotherhood. We loved each other. I mean, just think of us today, man. It's 20 years later, man. We still kicking it like we doing. It's like it was yesterday. It's anytime I can call you, Shy, or Mike, and we get to talking about one thing, and then next thing you remember back when such and such, and then it's a whole nother 2-hour-long conversation, nothing but laughter and fun, man. And those are some of the times, and you guys are some of the folks that I lean on, when I'm having struggles, and I need a smile or a laugh, man. I know I can call either one of y'all, and we can reminisce, or we can get to laughing, and we can go get to joking on each other, and then it's a whole new day and you forget about everything, man. So I appreciate y'all just being there for me, man, and just being good guys like you are. But again, Tech is night and day right now, bro. It's night and day.
And we were the day, and it's dark right now. Lights ain't good. The power's out. The power's been cut off.
It's dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
It's dark.
Shy. Before we talk about the state of the program, man, I used to love blogging for you, man. You had that shimmy, man, and you and Mike, man, and Dre in the backfield. Like Mike was talking before you guys jumped on about the one thing missing with Virginia Tech now is an identity. I know the game has evolved, but Mike has said throughout our shows that it seems like everybody runs a spread, goes 3-4 wides, the zone reads, stretch plays, the lateral movement, the jet sweeps, holding the ball at the mesh, and then pulling it out and throwing a slant. Right. It seems like Virginia Tech, even on the goal line. So when you look at your time, why were you? I mean, obviously you guys were loaded with talent, man. With Slokowski and Browning win the offensive line, Josh Redden, Cadella, Matt Lair, Tim Schnecker, Keith Short, but you had Mike and Andre Davis and Ricky Hall. But it wasn't just about talent. You guys felt like you guys were going to beat up a team. Is that how it was when you guys went into a stadium, went into a game?
Oh, yeah. We had great strength coaching and Mike Gentry. He got our minds right during the summertime, phases, the lifting program. But also we had a great offensive coordinator, too. You said about everyone doing the spread. So we had the spread, we had pro, we had flush, we had goal line.
Yep.
You don't see all those.
That clock and lowest game. That clock and lowest game.
We had different formations and different we had different formations that you don't see with this team. You just see straight spread, even at goal line. And then with goal line, you can't run the ball in because you're not used to running the ball. And then as a running back, just like any other, like a quarterback, when you first get in there, you cold. So finding the hole, reading the holes that your offensive line give you, it's a hard thing to do when you first get in. And then you're using 4 backs. I saw we used 4 running backs. So my thing is what did we do during the spring that we couldn't find the starting running back or the second string running back or the third string running back? So I just don't know what's going on there.
Man, Andre Kendrick would have went crazy on Coach Bustle if we would have ran the spread as much as they running the spread these days.
Everybody would.
Man, like when we really had guys that would step up and say,
right,
this ain't working, or we got to do this different, or complain. One time, Dre picked up the phone against Syracuse and called upstairs to Bustle, and just told him how he felt about what we was doing. And we turned around and scored maybe 10 or 15 points after that. I don't know how many, but we found our stride. And I remember Coach Bustle, tell Dre to just do his damn job. But it was much. We talked about leadership earlier. We talked about guys stepping up on the sideline, not having fun or not looking like they having fun or into the game. Even we was losing that game. I just said it. We was losing that game, but we was competitive in it and still having fun. Dre called upstairs. Like that's what you want, man. Like that those real leaders, man. Real leaders.
And I don't see leadership on the field or off the field when I look at the game, and that's another problem.
Yeah.
Talk about it. No. Elaborate on that, because I say it on every platform I get on, and the media hears me, fans hear me, but I don't know if everyone understands what leadership means. Just elaborate on that, Shaq.
Yeah, I know on our team, me and Mike was more silent leaders. Dre was the more vocal leader. Most of our linemen was vocal leaders. And even at Ricker Hall, he was a vocal leader. So when we all kept each other accountable. So we had the offense, and the defense, everybody on the defense is vocal.
Everybody.
They got hyped. It made us get hyped to score. So I don't see that excitement. I don't see that enthusiasm on the field on offenses, especially when I look at the game on Saturdays.
Dre.
Oh boy, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the difference. It was the mentality. We was prepared in the summertime for what was going to happen in the fall, and I just don't see it. I just don't see that love for the game. I don't see the kids playing with emotion. Hey, I see some, they give you the Ric Flair and they doing before the game, but dog, you got to carry that throughout the game, man. Even when you down, you got to be able to do that, and I don't see that. And me personally, I just think that your team take on the mentality of your coach. You know what I'm saying? Or the people that's in place to get you to that position, a la Coach Gentry, Coach Bama. I'll never forget this word. I use this word all the time. Intelligent recklessness.
Oh, I love it.
He wanted us to be dogs, but at the same time, he wanted us to be smart. And I just see, I see a lot of no direction, man. I don't think them kids know which way to go, and it's unfortunate and it's unfair to them because, I mean, let's be honest, we don't have the top tiers, but we got some dogs that play for Tech now. So I'm not gonna sit there and put it all on them. I just don't think that they are being utilized as they should, and I really don't think that it's nothing to base yourself off. Because I can look at Coach, I can go down the line of our coaches when we was there. I can go to Coach Gentry, I can go to Coach Whitten, I can go to Sonny Sando, and I'd be like, okay, they all about this work. Then I can go to Beams, and then I can work it all the way down the list, all the way to Tony Ball. And it was the same goal, the same mentality, and it was like we gonna be dogs, and we gonna win this game, and we ain't, it's no question, we prepared. So I don't see that right now, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons.
No, I think y'all right.
No leadership.
I think you're right. I think y'all all right. Let me ask y'all this. I had this theory. I couldn't wait. I waited specifically for you guys to jump on, and Mike, you can jump in on this too. One thing I look at when you talk about when Mike was at Warwick High School, when Sharon was at Western Branch, Andre, when you were at EC Glass, when I was at Hampton. When I was on varsity in 9th grade, in 10th grade, I became a star, 11th grade and 12th grade. The guys before me, I saw the Sean Hamlets and all those guys before me, they showed me the ropes. And then I understood what it meant to be in my Hampton High school program. I knew about the guys even years before me, like Eric Hunter, who was a parade All-American, went to Purdue. They came back, not just because they won state championship, they came back and they reminded us, but there was a tradition as well as a principle and a way you did things. Same thing for you guys at your respected high schools. And then when we got to Tech, when I saw you guys and I was recruiting y'all and y'all came in and Mike came in, Mike, TP, Emmett, Dre, same thing with you, Keon, all the guys behind me saw what I learned from Cornell, Antonio Banks, William Yarbrough. These guys, here's my theory. Fuente took over in 2016. The years before that, you know, it was the last days of Beamer as a coach. It was 7-6, 7-6, 8-5. Other than that, when he left and he retired, Fuente came in and won those first 2 seasons with Stroman and those guys. Those were Beamer's leftovers.
Beamer's guys.
But here's the catch. Those guys there and so on after them never really knew what it meant, not just to be a Hokie, but the legacy that was laid before them, because everything was 4-6. You needed to win 2 games to be bowl eligible. Everything was underachieving. Everything was you didn't understand what was laid before you. The way I learned from William Boatwright and TJ Washington and Bill Connolly and Jim Pine, it wasn't just about winning. It was like there was a connection between the alumni, and also we understood when I became the starter what it meant to take to win. Sharon, you knew that because Marcus Parker and Ken Oxendine showed you, and Lamont and you guys. Mike learned it from Jim Druckenmiller, Al Clark, and the guys before him. Al Clark and Jim Druckenmiller learned from Maury Shishazo. See what I mean? Right. You guys agree with that theory?
I think the new legacy is the transfer out of Virginia Tech. That's the new legacy. That's what these guys are running. That's what you see. True, we have double-digit guys transferring out ever since he came into Virginia Tech. And some years it's gotten to 20s. Mm. So I take a player like Hooker at Tennessee right now.
Oh my God.
Wrote off, he's no good, blah, 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 blah. He's balling right now for Tennessee.
25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
What?
You trying to
yes.
He got 25 touchdown passes?
And 2 picks. And 2 picks.
And so he couldn't do that at Tech. So here's it's not a theory, here's the facts. You got a player that now is receiving proper coaching and leadership for him and confidence for him that he didn't have at Virginia Tech. I don't know what the circumstances was. It doesn't matter, but he's happy. He's at Tennessee. He's performing well. He's in a very good environment that was at Virginia Tech. I guess was hostile. I guess, I don't know. But he's a player and he's proven it. He's in a stronger conference playing against better competition, and his numbers are better at Tennessee.
Wow.
Than it was at Virginia Tech. He's throwing 250, 300 yards in 1/2 now. So you're telling me he couldn't do that at Virginia Tech? He didn't have enough talent to do that at Virginia Tech?
Oh my God, that breaks.
So we're not looking at, we're not, like you said, we got talent at Tech, but who's nurturing that talent?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a big problem too. So we don't really know who's the true ballers, because we got coaches. Man, I hate to say it, but when you have proof like that, he leave. And this the next year, 1 year, boom, he started. He took offense at SEC, and he's playing. He couldn't do that in an ACC at Virginia Tech.
Oh, man.
So that I'm like, and I just look. I'm happy for him. I'm hurting at the same time. Like, yo, I didn't want him to leave. I wanted him to at least have a fair shot at Tech with competing with
Brumeister.
But it seems like someone wanted Bromeister to be the man.
Yeah.
What you think, Trey?
That's no hit at him, because he doesn't go for that. But again, you got Hooker at Tennessee performing, so someone's not doing their job at
5 footer. Let it be known, 5 footer.
Dre, Mike, what you think?
I mean, what you think, Dre?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. It's when coming from EC Glass, our motto was this: we don't rebuild, we reload. And like you were saying, when you see when you guys coming from different places, the way that everything was set up for you, and you had to be that person that stepped in and not let nobody down. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, you had somebody to bring you along. This is the EC Glass way. Just like when we got to Tech.
Thank you.
Oxendine, Poons, God bless the dead, Brian Evans. We had them guys to show us this how the landscape go at Tech. This is what we made of. This is how we do business. This is what it is. And we had that. So when it was passed to us and we perfected some of the things that they taught us, we passed it down to Lee. We passed it down to Keith Burnell. You know, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't that we was so much better than you. It was just that we had the knowledge that was passed down, you know? Yep. And right now, I don't know how those guys operate, how close they are or whatever, but I just don't see like that team thing off the field like we had, you know? I don't see, and it shows on the field. Another point, you got guys, when we were there, we were all pretty much knew about each other. We were from Virginia, you know, New Jersey, right there on the East Coast, some Florida guys. We all kind of knew about each other. Mm-hmm. So we started playing with each other. You know, we developed that brotherhood. But now it's just like you got people that's coming from all walks of life, like all different places, and it's just like it's almost like it don't match, you know, and they don't, and they can't play together. But the game,
no, that's a great point.
It goes back to that leadership thing, man. Like you got all this talent up here, you can't put the pieces together.
No, Dre, I think you hit it on the head, Dre. Kind of knowing like the landscape, knowing the guys that's coming in, it makes a difference. This guy coming from Hampton, Virginia, and this guy coming from Roanoke. Next to you, when you're looking forward to those guys, you know, you got guys coming from all over the place. It's like, man, how you get here? How you get here? Now we gotta, you know. So that's a real thing. Just in regards to what Dwight was saying, as far as you know, having guys come before us, you know, Al Clark and Jim before me, and even Dave Meyer in the room, like. You know, the coaching that we had, Coach Bustle, and that leadership with our coaches and play, it was about teaching. We got taught the game. Like they were serious about teaching us how to go out and win a game, you know, based on, you know, our knowledge and not just our athletic ability. And I think what we all saying and trying to say is, you know, if you're not being taught right, you know, in that setting, in a football setting, you're just not going to win games, man. And you're not going to be comfortable. I don't see a comfort level in this team at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah. You can, I mean, you look at them, man, and like I say, you look at them and it's especially on the road games. Without that crowd at home, that's when they the hypest. When they're away, it's just like, dog, y'all got a game and it's 2 minutes on the clock before we kick off. Yo, you can show some type of emotion. Are we glad to be here? I mean, coach is clapping up. Let's get. I mean, something. Give me something.
It's too militant. It's too militant.
There you go, right there, Mike.
It's too militant.
It's like people scared to let loose. I don't get it.
I think you guys are. I know y'all are right. I think though, when you look at it, all the great points you just made. I think it's a reflection of the culture of Virginia Tech and what's transpired the last 6 years. Because I think when I started talking to guys that were there, because I still know some players that have gone there, and, you know, you get the all access, you know, it's different. And I'm fine. All of us on this podcast are doing great. We're all in a great place. We're all doing great in our lives. So we're not the bitter old man, get off our lawns. You know, we all doing great. But here's the one thing I will say. You have to allow people to be themselves, the way D. Hall was, the way Ricky Hall was. Corey Moore was an absolute fool, but he was who he was. Yeah, but I say it's to say that one of the things that shocked me was during the pregame meal, they can't even talk. They have to raise their hand.
I didn't want to bring that up. I want to bring that up.
Bring it up.
But
hold up.
That's why I said militant. Yeah. That's why I said
hold up.
That was ate by myself because it was roasting season. It was roasting season. That was roasting time right there.
Listen. You look. No, we're gonna have Jonathan McLaughlin and Luther Maddie on. They both play for Bama.
They coming on now?
No, they're gonna be on when we have another segment, another show. I know, you can look this up. You can look this up.
I did not. You gotta
Yes.
raise your hand.
So the rule is during pregame meals, there's no talking unless this is changed, but I'm pretty sure because the rule, they want you to focus on the game. No talk. You have to raise your hand for a server if you need more tea or water.
What?
And and I could not believe
I heard
it
that.
because
Yeah, I heard that.
I know sitting at the table with my table, because Dre had his table. My table was Hey Good and some fools.
Oh my God.
I mean, Hey Good, Jamel Smith, Mike Hawks, Ricky Hall. It was no way we were gonna be able to be quiet. There's no way. Tony Morrison.
That's just
Morrison.
foolish. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Like
That's-
you mean to tell me you
is-
got to go to class all week, stay focused all day and night, get to Friday and can't talk to your boy
Yeah.
or your peer
Hey,
or my teammate?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Hey, but
Yeah.
y'all remember when we was
Drake wouldn't let that ride.
what? Man, they were keeping me out of there because y'all remember we used to have like joke videos as we were eating.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beamer.
yeah. You can end up on the big screen.
We was loose.
Beamer and Berlin and Bruce Garnes put together. I'm glad you brought it up, Dre, to keep us loose. Beamer and them put together videos of funny bloopers, people getting roasted, falling down. Like they put together video highlights. They one time they were making fun of Angelo Harrison. I mean, it didn't matter. Remember, I'm not gonna say why, but Beamer one time called Lorenzo Fruit Dog, and that nickname stuck forever. Lorenzo Ferguson. He said,
I'm gonna tell you, you had those fruity blinds on. You had them fruity bikinis on, man. Those fruity blinds, man. That's what I call them.
Lorenzo, Coach Beamer,
Shout out
Coach
to
Beamer.
Zoe, man.
Yeah, shout out to Lorenzo, man.
Shout out to Zoe Ferguson.
Hey, listen. I mean, and I want to specify this for our viewers and our listeners, man. None of y'all go into a game watching Tech play when you're able to, whether you're in person or you watching on television. We all want to see these guys win because the program matters to us. I mean, especially for Virginia Tech, unlike Michigan and Florida State and Alabama and the blue bloods of football, Tech, Beamer took over in probation after Dooley left in '87, and there were scholarship limitations. He had to go into the depths of Newport News, Lynchburg, South Florida, Dade County, Baltimore City, and get guys from urban communities in Eastern Newport News to go to Southwest Virginia. And the funny thing is, for 20 plus years, guys from those communities came there and called a place like Blacksburg and Christiansburg and Roanoke their homes. That was their home. That was our home. And I think when you talk about culture, when I look at Mike when he played for the Eagles, you look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid has a great culture of winning. Mike, you also played for our brother Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season because there's a culture of winning. People think it's about just talent. It's about that expectation of, like we mentioned earlier, about this is what we are going to do here. This is what we're about. If you don't buy in, even when Brady was at New England, and now he brought that same culture to Tampa Bay. I think it's on the high school, college, and pro level. And I think right now that's my biggest issue. Before we jump into Hokie Trivia, sponsored by Alexandria Restaurant Partners, one final thought from you guys, man. Sharon, we're done playing, obviously. You're not a coach. You're an educator, and teaching young minds up in Alexandria. But I know this is a tough question, but I want you and Dre and even Mike, you can chime in. If you could help the program now, or what would you, if you were talking to Witt or you were called, for some consultation, what would be your, what would be your feedback on what Tech needs to do to get back? I mean, because you mentioned recruiting, strength and conditioning. What is it?
In my opinion, I don't know, because the coaching, the coaches available now is not that deep of good coaches that's available.
Yeah.
When Beams first retired, I would have hired Bud Foster to be the head coach.
Facts.
I would have allowed him to bring in offensive staff or offensive coordinator. Then he would have kept his defensive staff intact. You keep Coach Gentry. If he don't retire, if he retires, you hand it over to Jared Ferguson. And then you keep everybody intact. You keep the culture intact. You keep that recruiting line intact with Bud Foster. Then you bring in an offense that can score points along with your crazy defense. What more do you need? The fact that they didn't ask Foster to be or interview to be a head coach is still beyond me. I can't believe they didn't. But again, that's nothing with Fuentes. That's Virginia Tech. That's all Virginia Tech. That's the AD, that's Witt, that's the president, whoever else. So right now, I don't have any advice for them right now, because when we were trying to give them advice before talks of Beamer retiring, and then when Beamer did retire, no one wanted to listen, no one wanted to try to talk. So they have to dig this hole out, but they need to do it quick before recruiting goes to everybody else. They already leaving.
Yep. We're gonna lose some people.
We're gonna lose some people.
Yeah. Dre, before you answer, I'll just say this, man. Shy, you and I've talked numerous times over the phone, group chats, and one thing I think, to add to your question, because I think, I like your answer, because it's easy to say, fire this guy. That's obvious. It needs to be changed. But when it comes down to it, I also think you need to make sure whoever the guy is, he gets back to the nuts and bolts of recruiting the state. You got to win your state first. The legendary George Wells, UVA, and Frank Beamer both used to always put the emphasis on Virginia. And also, you got to make sure you get back to the strength and conditioning program where we just wore people down. Right now, it just looks like it's not. I hate to hate on them, but I'm just looking at the results. Guys they're ripped. I'm talking about a mindset of physicality, But anyway, Dre, what are your thoughts?
Well, I want to say a couple things, and I'm gonna start off with this.
Get him 5 footer.
Yeah, I mean, 100. There's a lot of speculations what my issue with Fuentes is, but I'm gonna keep it 100. My problem with the whole situation is the dealing with Foster. I'm telling you, that kind of bothered me.
Speak on it.
The co-defensive coordinator thing, and then when your man's, something don't happen right, then you fall back on Foster. You know what I'm saying? But
and I tell you, Vic, I told Vic, Drake, I told Vic this.
That hurt me off the rip with him. I was like, nah.
I told Vic about that.
Yeah, and not only you got that, Coach Foster had to take the blunt of a lot of the responsibility and a lot of the blame, because the defense was giving up a lot of yards. But if you don't got an offense and you on the field for 40 minutes, what you expect you gonna get? So that was a problem, because I think that was some unfair, whatever the word is for coach, for coach, man. I think that was unfair.
Bull Jeff.
I mean, I'm keeping it real clean.
He was in a 98 Syracuse game every game.
It bothered me. So, and then the next thing you have is this, man. We got in Blacksburg. It's such a nice, it's the best football environment that you can ask for to play in. We got the best fans that travel and support you even in these times.
Yes.
And we got some decent kids, but it's unfair to the fans. It's unfair to the alumni that we got to watch that a lot of times, man. And it bothers me, because that's not who we were. And I was reading the other day that all of the things that Beamer had, the streaks, the 10 wins, all that stuff, all the stuff that we hung our hat on, from what that man built from his hands up. Like, that man built the program from scratch for real. And we got Beamer got one record that's left. And guess what? It's probably he probably ain't gonna have nothing left. So whoever come back in gonna have to rebuild it all over again. So I'm vexed by that, man. And right now, I'm just gonna keep it 100, man. Like, Virginia Tech, man, we need some happy days, man. We need some happy days. Get somebody in there. Get somebody in there that's gonna come in, and we don't expect you to win off the rip, but at least have some type of rapport with your kids. Put out a product where they fighting hard and it makes sense. Just make it make sense to us. We ain't gonna win everything, but come on, man, you can't just throw it out there and just, like I say it all the time, you can't just be happy with your entrance. You can't be happy with that. That can't be what we hang our head on. We are Virginia Tech. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that bother me. And to be honest, the way we get back, man, we got to start somebody from scratch, man. Now, like I said, I don't like to call for a man's job, because at the end of the day, the man got a family. He got a wife to take care of and everything.
He'll be all right. He got guaranteed money.
Yeah,
He'll be all right.
It's
Man, $20 million, right?
Yeah, but you know, at the end
20
of the day,
million.
still, you know, it's still. I just feel that way about. But man, that guy got to go, man, and we just need to get somebody in there.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong for that.
Support the guy, and I think the guy need to reach out to some of us, man. We hands on with these kids, man. We hands on with a lot of top kids, and if they give us just. We ain't not looking for the credit. We just want our program to win. That's it.
Yeah.
If you give me if you can give me something I can take to these parents and be like, listen, man, these kids Virginia Tech is where the place they need to be. They're gonna be taken care of. If I can come to them with a straight face and you give me something to give them with a straight face, man, I run around the country trying to get somebody to come to.
Well,
Tech.
Dre.
All right.
Dre. Hey.
All right.
Hey, Trey. You.
No, I ain't cut you off. Stop right there. Stop right there.
Keep going.
But look, but before you go, D, I ain't gonna be long because I know we got to get.
No. You good?
No, what I was gonna say, just what Dre just ended on and capped it off with. My thing is just don't take this recruiting process lightly. Moving forward, whatever the guy you bring in, like we got to help him out. You know, I mean, Dre just showed some form of commitment, like right there. Like, look, man, I love to try to help a guy, encourage a guy to go to Virginia Tech based on my personal experience. So, just don't take the recruiting part lightly. We got to attack the 757. We got to attack Virginia as a whole, Pennsylvania, Florida. Like, get involved. You know what I mean? Like, get out there. I go to high school games all the time out here in Florida, and there's amazing kids out here. Some top tier, some second tier. You can win with them. You just got to be able to coach them up. Help your coaches out in the recruiting process.
Yep. Now, Mike, you're right. Before I get to our Hokie Trivia, the last point I just want to add to that recruitment, I think that's the biggest thing, that the Virginia Tech coaching tree, you have guys like Andre Kendrick, Lauren Johnson, who was arguably one of the best high school football coaches in Virginia. You also have a lot of guys coaching in Northern Virginia, coaching in Tidewater, that want to send their kids to Tech, that have talent. I think pipelines have to be reestablished. Western Branch was a pipeline. Deep Creek was a pipeline. Hampton High was a pipeline. Oscar Smith was a pipeline. Thomasdale was a pipeline. Phoebus was a pipeline. You know what I'm saying? Like Warwick, Deep Creek. You cannot just dismiss those guys, because those guys are now going to Pitt. They're now going to North Carolina. They're now going to UVA, Penn State. Ohio State. And that's what is disappointing, because many of those guys prior to, recent years were Tech guys. And now the Tech brand is taking a hit, because your brand is the face of your program. Because when you're winning on the field and you got guys from your state, when Andre Kendrick, shout out to Rupert, but when Carl Bradley, Cornell Brown, and Andre Kendrick and a lot of guys went back to Lynchburg, they were heroes, they were rock stars. Sharon Stith and Lorenzo and all those guys, when they went back to the 7-5 on the south side, everybody was checking for them. Same thing with Tony Morrison when he went back to Indian River. Same thing, Mike, when you and I used to ride back home with DC, dropped him off in Smithfield, me and you went back. You know what I'm saying? When you had that Tech gear on, we started.
Shout out to Derek Carter, man. Rest in peace, Derek Carter.
Soul, man. People was like, when I was at Tech in 94, 95, Cass was like, where you go to school at? Vermont? I was like, nah, yo. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, everybody was like, oh, yo, I want to go to Tech. And when I went to Tech, I opened the door for Myra Newsom, Tyrod Taylor, Walter Ford, and Tyrell Wilson, and Dion Newsom, because then you have a pipeline. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that hard, man, but we're going to have some fun real quick, man. We're going to do Hokie Trivia. I warned you guys, nobody has gotten more than 3. Nobody has ever gotten 4. But this segment is sponsored by Alexandria Restaurant Partners. They're one of our great sponsors, man. ARP was formed to manage restaurants in Northern Virginia and Orlando. They have restaurants to include The Majestic, Mia's Italian Kitchen, Hot Tide Lounge, my favorite. I gotta check it out when I go to Orlando. Cafe 22 Tango. Alexandria Restaurant Partners, man. Check them out, AlexandriaRestaurantPartners.com for careers, private events, and sign up for offers, man. They're one of our sponsors, man. Shout out to them, man. So, fellas, Hokie Trivia. I dug deep on this one, man, because I want to see how y'all know. This first question is a doozy, as they say. So, again,
a stumper.
Okay. Which Virginia Tech player has the longest run from scrimmage with a 96-yard run against Wake Forest? Was it A, Bob Schweikert, B, Ryan Williams, C, David Wilson, or D, Khalil Herbert? Once again, this Virginia Tech player had the longest run from scrimmage with 96 yards, a 96-yard run against Wake Forest.
Who was the guy's first name?
I'm gonna go first. Hold on. First of all, I know it ain't Bob Stryker.
Mike got his cell phone in his hand.
You ain't get me with that one. You ain't get me with that one.
Mike cheat.
No. I was writing down the names. But I know it ain't Bob Stryker.
Okay. And then the next one is Ryan Williams or David Wilson or Khalil Herbert.
I'm gonna say David Wilson.
All right, Mike's going to write this down. Mike said David Wilson. All right. Sharon, who you got?
I got Ryan Williams. No. I got is it what's your No, I got Ryan Williams.
Okay. Shy, Ryan Williams. And my man, Trey, Drizzy.
I think I'm gonna go with
96-yard run against Wake Forest.
I think that was Herbert.
All right. So, Dre, let me make sure I give you your points if this is right. The correct answer is Bob Schweikert. Listen. I'm about to read you a little bit from his bio, bro. This is crazy. At the end, Schweikert still held the record. This is as far as back in 2019 with the 96-yard run against Wake Forest in 1962. He scored on 6 touchdowns, over 50 yards in his career. He also had the 7th longest punt return in Tech history with 82 yards against VMI. He also played quarterback with 600-yard rushing games, 6 100-yard rushing games, including 204 yards versus Richmond in 63. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry. He passed for 1,700 yards and 18 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating was 116.3.
Man, he played quarterback draft pick.
He played.
Dual threat. He had no face mask, man. That don't count. Clear vision.
He sound like man.
Hey,
he ain't had one ball.
Oh God. Bob Schweikert. I might not even be saying his name.
Shout out to Bob Schweikert.
Yeah, I hope I'm saying his name right.
Holder, man.
Yeah, man, dude.
Wow.
You gotta wrap him, Shy.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's go. Keep it going. Here we go. Which defensive player? Listen to the words. Which defensive player did not lead the Hokies in tackles in the season, the regular season? So everybody I'm going to name, one of them did not lead the team in tackles. Was it A, Jamil Smith, linebacker Jamil Smith? Was it B, defensive back Antone Exum? Was it C, linebacker James Anderson? Or was it D, safety Chuck Clark? I apologize, Chuck Clark. Okay. Jamil Smith played in 98, 99, and 97 as well. Exum, 2011, 2010, those years. James Anderson played in the 2005, 2004 era. And then Chuck Clark, he played 2014, 2015.
And he's safety.
So which player did
he Rover? Either Rover or Whip. He's safety.
Okay, look at you. You like Mike. You want the specifics.
Yeah.
Chuck Clark.
You a safety and you leading the team in tackles, man. That's a problem.
Chuck Clark.
That's what I'm thinking.
So he played Rover. He was versatile. He could play Rover, Whip, and linebacker.
Okay. And what year he played?
He played 2014, 2015 time frame.
Oh,
so
okay.
again,
I'm gonna say Exum.
You said Exum did not lead the team in tackles. Okay, all right. Mike is saying Anton Exum. Exum is a performer now. He got videos. Anthony Lambo will be sharing with me and Sharon and Ken Oxendine, man.
You don't want to see that.
Exum, man. Exum out there singing, man. All right.
He prove it.
Yeah. Dre, who you got?
Man, who was the safety?
So the choices are Jamel Smith, Anton Exum, James Anderson, and Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark, remember, he played everywhere.
I'll go with Exum too then.
All right.
I think I'm going to go with Exum.
Ray is going Exum. Oh man, Shy, what you got?
I'm going with the wild card. I'm going with Jamel Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jamel.
So, all right. What'd you say, Dre?
I think Jamel led the team in tackles.
So,
yeah, no doubt.
So you are all wrong. Dre, you are correct. Dre, no, you're correct that Jamel Smith led the team in tackles in 99 and 1998. He had in 99, he had 89 tackles, and then in 98, he had 99 tackles. The correct answer is James Anderson. James Anderson was a linebacker. I know he was a beast.
He did not.
No, he did not. Chuck Clark in 2015 led the Hokies with 107 tackles. He's still balling for the Ravens. Shout out to Chuck Clark. Anton Exum in 2011 led the team with 89 tackles.
Wow.
That was
That
was the year they won they lost in the ACC championship to Clemson. Jamel Smith, you guys know we all played with Jamel.
Yeah,
I thought Mike Hawk would lead the tackle. Mike Hawk.
All right, fellas, man. We 0-2. Who coming on the board? Man, we got 2 left, man. Here we go.
Oh God.
In 2009, this Virginia Tech wide receiver returned a kickoff return for a touchdown against the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide.
That's my man.
Hold on. You about to cheat?
Y'all about to give the answer.
No, come on, man. Same question. Let me start over, man. Drake came with that Lynchburg excitement. So, in 2009, I'm going to go with you last, Ray. In 2009, this Virginia Tech wide receiver returned a kickoff return for a touchdown against the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. A few games later, he caught the winning touchdown against the 19th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. Was it A, Jared Boykin, B, Dyrell Roberts, C, Corey Fuller, or D, Demetrius Knowles? Mike, you can go first.
D, Demetrius Knowles.
You said that with confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sha, who you got, man?
I'm going with Mike.
Demetrius Knowles. Okay, here we go. Dre Kendrick.
Look at Dre's face.
Yeah, I could either stay even with everybody, or I could go out front with this one. Let's say, what was the first guy's name you said?
Jared Boykin.
I thought you knew. Yeah, I thought you knew.
Well, my guy won't on there, so evidently I don't. I'm going with Boykin, man.
Boykin? Okay. All right, man. So the correct answer is none of the answers you guys provided. So, so here's the thing. Demetrius Knowles did return kicks. He had a great one against Carolina, but he did not play against Alabama or Nebraska that year. The correct answer was Smithfield High School's Dyrell Roberts. Dyrell Roberts returned a kickoff against Alabama to put the Hokies in front. He returned a 98 kickoff return. And then he caught the winning touchdown against against Nebraska. Tyrod threw it to him on 3rd and goal with Adonica suit hanging off his shoulder pad. And remember that, Tyrod did it, Mikey. Tyrod did it. Yeah, it was Dyrell Roberts. One of the best receivers, man. He was a great receiver.
No doubt.
Yeah. 757 product, Smithfield, man. Great guy. Great. He's coaching too. Another guy coaching. Along with Ike Charlton. Everybody's coaching, man. All right. Last one. Maybe we get this right. Okay. In 1998, the Virginia Tech Hokies won the inaugural Music City Bowl game.
Oh.
Hold on. That's just showing you the trend. In 2002, the Hokies won a second inaugural bowl game. This is in 2002 when they played in the 2002 Diamond Walnut San Francisco Bowl. They won 20-13, finishing the season with a 10-4 record?
Lil bro, Mark ate that game against didn't he?
Who?
Mark Vick, Lil bro.
I can't answer that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can. And I'll answer after that, because if I do, yeah. He almost tricked me together with a Jedi mind trick.
Get on the board, my G. They would be talking about some. See, that's why they ain't get on the board.
So the team they beat in the second inaugural game they played in the bowl game, was it that season in 2002? Was it California? Was it B, Louisville, C, Air Force, or D, Oklahoma State? They won 20-13, finished the season with a 10-4 record. Okay.
It was A, Cal.
Mike, you saying Cal? Okay. It was the Diamond Walnut. I get 2002 Diamond Walnut. It was a San Francisco Bowl. Okay.
I'm gonna say Air Force.
I think Air Force too, but I remember when Lil Bruh ate on somebody when he's playing receiver. So
you guys, okay, all right. So you guys going with Air Force. All right. Here's the answer. Before I give you the answer, Dre, you were right. Marcus balled, but it wasn't that game. It was the Insight.com Bowl against Aaron Rodgers. Where Marcus played. He played. It was
at
against
Cal.
He caught the
touchdown. Was on
touchdown.
that game.
He returned a punt. Yeah. The correct answer is Air Force.
Yeah,
boom.
We got a 5-footer on the board.
I like Air Force.
Nice.
Because I was like, if we lose the Air Force, I'm throwing all my tech stuff away. Letterman jacket.
Oh man, yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our Hokie Trivia, sponsored by Alexandria Restaurant Partners. Check them out in Alexandria, Northern Virginia, and Orlando, Florida. Check them out at www.alexandriarestaurantpartners.com for features, booking, careers, and everything like that, man. Thank you to those guys. So, guys, my brothers, we are at the end of the show, man. As I mentioned in previous shows this week, again, when we have our guest on, we always want to show love to anybody that's part of the Hokie family, Hokie Nation. It can be a fan, somebody, battling an illness, somebody that's overcome something, a teacher, a coach, your teammates, a current player. Let's hear it out, man. Let's give our Soul Hoodie. Once again, this is our Soul Hoodie shout outs, man. Check out Soul Hoodie at soulhoodie.com. It's a great place to get your gear to work out. They got high school, college, and pro paraphernalia at www.soulhoodie.com. Check out their gallery for a lot of nice gear, nice hoodies to work out in and train in. All right. Sharon, I'll let you go first, man. Who do you want to shout out? I got a couple
people, but I'm going to keep it fast. First, I'd like to shout out Tony Morrison. Without him, from Inspiring Virginia Tech, I probably would have came. Shout out Brian Edmonds and Derek Carter. Thank their families for letting us share them with us. Coach Height, Coach Bustle, Coach Gentry, and I just give a shout out to the O-line that allowed us to run behind them, and one tight end that never gets any love. My homeboy, Brian Jennings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Jennings. No one ever bring Brian up because we never throw him the ball until bowl game.
No doubt.
I think about him all the time. I hope you out there doing well, man. And good luck to you.
No, that's a great shout out, man. I love it, man. That's a good one. Dre, who you got, my guy?
Definitely shout out my guy, DC Derek Carter. God bless the dead. God bless the dead Poons. God bless the dead Brian Edmonds. God bless the dead Keon Carpenter. All the folks, man. Them some good brothers right there. Gone too early, but they gonna live on through us. Shout out to Coach Height. Foster, my guy. Charlie Wiles. That's he's still my guy. Charlie Wiles doing good down at NC State. But yeah, shout out to all those folks, man. Appreciate y'all guys. Appreciate y'all just being a Hokie in the Hokie family, man. And it was just like Gentry, all them guys. There was some good people there, and some good folks there, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to Cornell Brown for showing us the direction. Calvin Jones also. He was the first to go to Tech. Well, Mickey Fitzgerald was the first, but Calvin Jones from down at Tech. For EC Glass. Also we got to shout out my man Law Lou, aka Vester. We got to shout him out before we go.
No shirt, Law Lou.
Just a tight vest on.
Hey, Law Lou is like a TikTok star. He got like
He's the best.
yo, he got videos. I was like, yo, was that Law Lou? Law Lou doing
You got celebrities shouting him out now, man.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. It's amazing, man.
I'm watching on Lou.
Listen. We you know what? That's what's so great about our brotherhood and our sisterhood. Everybody, the Hokie family, we're doing great things. We just so.
Hey, can I get one more in there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Waverly Jackson.
Yes.
Wave.
Taught everybody how to conduct themselves off the field and on the field at practice. So I have to salute to him as well.
No
and
doubt.
Ricky Bustle, man. We got to shout out Ricky Bustle.
Oh, I said Coach
I already shouted out Coach. Yeah, no doubt.
Ricky Bustle, man.
I love
God.
Coach. Yeah, that's my guy.
Man. Come on, Shaq.
That's my heart. yeah, that's my heart. You know, man, Coach, we stay talking to this day.
That's awesome, man.
He ain't changed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my shout out, man. I'm going old school. My shout out is Bruce Arians. I got to shout out Bruce because whenever I talk to people, we talk about Virginia Tech history. We talk about, my Russian records. I had nothing on Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians was one of the guys who definitely paved the way as a quarterback. After him, it was a string of quarterbacks, Will Furr and a bunch of other guys who had a chance to go off and play in the pros. But, Bruce, he held a lot of records. And I knew nothing about him, but the more time go on, the more I learned about him. And, we had a long lineage of great quarterbacks that came through Virginia Tech, just like running backs, offensive linemen, like we can go on and on forever. But now in the pros doing this thing, coaching Tom Brady, got a championship, got a Super Bowl. I think that's to be celebrated. So shout out to Bruce Arians.
That's a great shout out. Bruce
Hey,
Arians,
Vic, Dwight, before we go, man, I mean, what I'm saying? This is how I hold my dog down anytime, though. Shout out to my guy, Mike Vick, man. They keep talking about Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson.
Oh.
That's the one. You've never seen him before. You've seen Lamar Jackson. You've never seen a Mike Vick before.
Hey.
Shout out to you, Mike Vick.
That's a great shout out, man.
Doubt. Thank you.
That's my dog.
Yeah. Hey.
I wanted to shout y'all out too, man, because I say this. I enjoy handing the ball off to y'all, watching y'all run, man. It was nothing like having y'all as teammates. Salute. Shout out to y'all.
Imagine how we feel watching you run.
Right.
Just stop on the option. Just stop on the option. Let him do his thing. Keep resting for the next play.
Let me get a block for this dude right quick. Let me get a block.
Let me give. Hey, no, Drake. I'm glad you said that, man. I be showing my, you and I work with teens. I be showing people on my phone, even my own son. My son, he know about Mike because we family.
Oh, yeah.
One time me and Shanice had to check him. I said, hold on, bro. Let me pull it out, man. Let me pull out the, Isaiah was trying to act like he won't impress. I was like, nah, and he was like, yo, you must have forgot. But look, let me give out my shout out before we wrap up, man. This has been a blessing as always when we link up. I want to shout out a few people, man. I want to shout out the Virginia Tech seniors that's playing their last home game in Blacksburg this weekend against Duke. We are all living proof. You have an educator, a teacher, one of the best teachers in the state, Sharon Stith. Does great work no matter where he goes. You got Andre Kendrick, a mentor, a leader in the community, a great father. Just doing great things. He's got a podcast. Dre, what's the name of your podcast? How can they
follow it? Drake Can Talk.
Drake Can Talk. Make sure you subscribe. Hokie Nation, show his love. It's a room for all of us. But I also want to shout out the seniors because, again, like I said, we're living proof, man. Mike's a father, a husband. He's doing media work. He's got his brand. He does a lot of stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. I own 2 businesses. I'm married. Your career is going to come to an end this weekend and after the season ends, whether you go to a bowl or not. And some of y'all will get a chance to play in the NFL or, arena or whatever. But eventually, everybody's going to have to retire and hang their cleats up. So don't get consumed with just being an athlete. You can do so much more. Sometimes you forget that. But I'm here to remind you, you're seeing right now on this podcast 4 guys representing so many people from Virginia Tech and other schools like us, Norfolk State, Hampton University, UVA, whatever. We're all doing it, man. So don't lose sight of that. And then I also want to shout out Virginia Tech has had a history under Bama of some great walk-ons, some great guys that always, you forget about, but guys that, you know about, like Engelberger, once they get their chance to shine. And I want to shout out Tim Schnecker and Brandon Simonis. Tim Schnecker, man. used to ride me around in his little punch bug, man, going to Volume 2 bookstore to get stuff, man, for the weekend we were on the road, man. And his mom, he went to Blacksburg with Shane and those guys, Blacksburg High, and Schnecker looked out for me. Me, him, Big D, we played together, man. And he walked on. He was a tough guy. He was a very good player, good center. And he was like my little brother, man. He always used to, just ask me questions. We were prepping for the game, but I just want to shout him out. And also I want to shout out Brandon Simonis. Brandon Simonis, if he walked in the room, you thought he was lost if it was a football room. But that guy, check the tape. You talk about one of the toughest players on defense in Virginia Tech football history. Brandon Simonis, Lauren Johnson talked about him when he was on the show. Lauren Johnson said, Brandon Simonis against Miami, we were 0-2. Brandon Simonis called out every play Miami was going to run. He even had an interception that game. I'm talking about Brandon did.
Wow.
He was Coach Beamer's nephew, and he looked like he was, a kickball champion. He won't big, but he was a tough SOB, man. So shout out to Tim Schnecker, Brandon Simonis, and all the seniors that's going to play their last home game. Don't let this be the end of your legacy. You got a lot of life ahead of you, man. Regardless, it's rough right now. You 5-6, but you control what happens on the field, man. End this season the way you wanted to end it, despite all the other nonsense. But Sharon, Dre, we appreciate y'all, man. This has been a blast, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all, we brothers forever, man. So
love y'all show,
yeah.
man. Love you.
Thank
yes.
I'll watch my dogs on that,
Thank
man.
you, bro.
VICK757 is the real deal, man. I love
Yes, man. Yes. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you to our sponsors, Soul Hoodie and also Alexandria Restaurant Partners. Thank you to all Hokie Nation that continue to subscribe to this channel. And thank you to all the fans that continue to support Virginia Tech. It's basketball season now, too. So check out what they're doing in the hardwood. They got a great team. Shout out to Mike Young and his team. Looks like they're going to make another run this year, man. But like we say every week, man, Hokies play this week against Duke and Lane Stadium, 3:30 kickoff. Like we say every week, man, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.
Hokies.
Appreciate you.